Okay, welcome to One Stop Co-op Shop. Steve, I'm here with Bairnt.
Hey there, Steve. We're at it again. Co-op chat time. Woohoo!
I know, this is always a fun time. I love these chats. This is the
Agreed.
first time joining. We cover a bit of news and then we do a discussion topic. And this is kind of a free-form open chat, so ask any questions you want. Honestly, even if they're not related, it's fine. So we're just here to have some fun, hang out.
Yeah, we may have a topic, but if we may go off topic, and that's totally fine as long as we're all having
No,
fun.
we don't go off topic, do we, Bairnt?
Never, never,
Never.
never.
So,
We've already covered 8 topics off topic for what when we're on topic.
so true.
Is that even a topic?
Okay, let's do the news real quick because the news is going to be really fast. I don't have much this week. In fact, I don't have any non-game launching news this week. But I do feel a little bad because I did miss a co-op game last week that I should have mentioned that did launch, and that is Green Hell. I've got that pulled up on the side here. It is a cooperative survival game where you are in the jungle. It is based off of a video game which I have not played. Have you played Green Hell by chance, Barrett?
I nope, never even heard of it, but I might be looking it up, and I'll probably be back in this game because I'm a huge fan of survival, and I'm a huge fan like Seventh Continent stuff like that. Oh my gosh, those are adventure games.
Yeah, this one
That's
is
up this
by
guy's alley.
yeah, it's by Galactus Games. It's 1 to 4 players. You're in the jungle and you're gathering resources, crafting things. The interesting thing about it, it has a cube tower. And so, what's the other co-op game? Stygian Society.
Yes, yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I think that's the only other co-op game with a cube tower I know of. And I don't know how this one works exactly, but it's interesting in the fact that like you drop the cubes in and there's like 2 exits, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
look like they get trapped necessarily. So it's not maybe a real cube tower, depending on how you define it, but like it splits up the cubes you drop into 2 piles, and based on piles will do different things. So,
Right.
but yeah, Green Hell, a survival game. I love survival games. I need to look into this a little bit more, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's currently on Kickstarter. Ends August 23rd.
Did we cover it anyway? Did like Mike do something for it?
I do not know if anybody's covering this one, so if you would like to do so,
Well,
go
I
ahead.
can try, but I think Rolling Solo did something for it. It's probably up on the Kickstarter.
Probably. Yep.
I think if I remember seeing on his feed, he did something, but I don't know. I have to go look at it.
Yep.
Perked my interest.
Yeah, it's not quite funded yet, but it's doing pretty well. So it's a good chunk of the way there. All right, so that's the first game we'll talk about. The second game, this is an upcoming game, and this is on GameFound. Masters of the Universe: Fields of Eternia. So this one is launching August 9th in 2 days time.
Oh, I tried to keep a straight face on that one.
What?
It's just it seems like every whenever we do this co-op chats, like every other day there's like, oh, we're doing some crazy 80s game that Barrett used to watch as a kid when he was growing up. What were we doing? Last week was GI Joe. And I was actually at Target, saw Gargoyles. I was like, oh man, I should get this. I remember watching Gargoyles. We talked about that one, I think, last time too. And now we're at Masters of the Universe. He-Man. See, I had a ton of these guys too growing up, and I had Castle Grayskull, I had Snake Mountain,
Oh
I had
wow.
Skeletor, and that was back when they named people awesome. I
Oh yeah.
mean, it's like, oh, this guy looks like a beast. What should you call him? We'll call him Beast Man. It's like, of course, this guy's in the water. What should he be? I'm a merman. Okay, that sounds perfect. I mean,
This lady, she's supposed to be evil. What should we call her?
yeah,
Evil Lynn.
evil man.
Oh, I love it. Yes, so this one is coming on GameFound. Is by Archon Studio. It is 1 to 6 players, and it is co-op as far as I can tell. I'm pretty positive on this one. That's why I brought it up. It's a little confusing because it sounds like this is competitive, solo, and co-op, and I always get nervous when they start talking about that type of stuff. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, in this game, you are controlling areas. Let's scroll on some pictures here so we can talk about it. Here. So here's the map. You are running around this map. You can choose different factions, and the factions have different units with them. Of course, like one faction has He-Man, and he's got the She-Ra, and
He's got She-Ra in it too. Oh, that's amazing.
She-Ra's in it. Man of Arms is in it. So I mean,
Let me guess. He rides around on his battle cat, right?
well, I don't think it's a miniature, but yes, you do the battle cat's in the game because you do have equipment and vehicles, of course, right?
Oh, all right. Man at Arms. Oh my gosh. I'm just remembering these names. We had Ram Man. He was amazing. He pressed a button, his head jumped out. It was out of control.
Yeah, Stratos, Tila, yep.
Oh, those names, they killed me.
Yeah, Triclops. Oh yeah, that guy. That guy's speaking
Yep,
of
you
fun
had the three
names.
things. You'd spin the eye up here. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So yeah, as far as I can tell, I think this is like, hey, a faction-based game, and you're exploring the world. And the cool thing is, you can interact with NPCs, and NPCs in the game you may fight them, you may not, but they may give you something, or they may even join your team, which is kind of cool. Um, but yeah, you gain equipment, and it's scenario-based, I believe, that you're trying to do some type of goal. There's a lot of events in there. This is gonna be a big one. I'm not sure. I'm not sure all the details of this one yet. But it is launching, like I said, August 9th.
Sweet.
So
Pumpkinhead's got a lot of questions for you in the comments.
okay, let's jump into that. So I think that's all the news I have.
They're making me laugh too.
Oh yeah, so yeah, sorry guys, I missed the. I scrolled up to your previous comments there. So successful Geek Green Hell video game is fun, looks neat, but I still have Robinson Crusoe unplayed. Don't want more survival. Yeah, that's the
Mhm.
question with me too. Like I backed the deluxe Robinson Crusoe,
Oh
so
yeah.
I'm not sure if I need Green Hell, but it does look cool. So
And parents going all in on He-Man, huh? We'll see. We shall
uh,
see. I'll have to take a look at it. When I
probably
originally looked at it a long time ago and they put it on GameFound, I thought it was a competitive only. So maybe they've added all this extra stuff to it. I'm not sure. I'll have to look at it again. I might be all in. Who knows? It'd be kind of cool to paint up a He-Man character. I had enough of them playing when I was growing up that I I don't have them anymore. I was see this is all before eBay, so it's like, oh, I got all these He-Man guys. Now I'm old. I don't need these. I'm going to play video games and stuff for all my life now. I'm going to sell them at a garage sale for $1 each,
right.
where I could be selling them. But then, of course, the craze of eBay hit, and I probably could have made a little bit more money than that. But bought another board game.
Yeah, and Pumpkinhead says, "Can Americans buy this game, this He-Man
Yeah, that was the
game?"
other thing.
It's confusing because there's two Masters of the Universe games coming out. One's from
Okay.
Simon and one's from Archon. And I don't remember which one has a license for which area, so I'll have to get back to you on that one.
Nah.
I This one is coming out. I know we have international viewers, so I want to cover it regardless. But yeah, I don't know if US can buy this one necessarily. And yeah, successful geek, very true. This was all about selling toys, the He-Man license. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all
Oh,
about that.
then
Oh yeah, just
Simon is U.S. I guess that's what he's saying.
yeah, Simon's US for sure. I don't know if this one is not US. I'm not positive on that one. That's a good
Yeah.
question. But
You
yeah.
know what? If I miss out on a game, I think I'll be okay.
Are you sure?
I might. I
There's only
might
a few games
have a
coming out
little
all
bit.
the
I
time.
might twitch a little bit, but I think I'll still be okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and thank you. I'm glad you like my mug. My son gave this to me for Christmas a year ago.
Yes. Yes. Cool. Okay. So that's all the news to cover this week. Let's go into our discussion topic. So, discussion topic, we're talking about AI in board games. That's what we're doing. And so,
Yes.
yeah, because we play co-ops, and of course, there's always us versus the game. So every game in the co-op and solo world has some type of AI, I'd
Mm-hmm.
say.
Whether it be
So
like a timer or an actual something that's trying to thwart your plans or even going against you, it seems to always be something in some kind of co-op game, because otherwise you have like infinite resources and infinite ability to do whatever you want, really. I mean, and of course your resources are finite and they're attempting to take them. Usually it's the big rule how AI works.
well, I mean, the other way to do it too is like a beat your score type game, right? Which
Oh
a
yeah.
lot of things do. And honestly, I'm just not a fan of that. It's just like, oh, I got 5 points this time. I got 12 points this time. Cool, like it's not motivation for me to like achieve some level of victory. Like I know some games like City Skylines, that's victory point as well, but they have different. Hey, at this level you win the game. At this
Right.
level, it's like you did an awesome job, and so that helps a little bit. I know it's kind of dumb. Like you probably make it yourself. Say this is a good way of winning. I need at least that for my victory points. But yeah, that's another way of avoiding the AI. But generally, I love AIs in games. I am always interested in how they implement those.
Hmm.
And so, got some comments before the chat, which was awesome. So let me go to those real quick. Talk about their favorite AIs. So Kevin says he says Gloomhaven, Red Rising, Bonfire, and Imperium. While Gloomhaven is a bit beefier, the other AIs are pretty easy to follow. So it's some of his favorites.
Hmm. And you know, AIs all have something to do and a way to implement them. For example, Gloomhaven. I think we kind of touched on this in the dungeon crawling aspect. Their AI system is that uh, random but potential to, but since there's only a limited amount of cards, you have the potential to kind of at least move around that because there's only like 5 to 6 cards per enemy usually, and you have a pretty good chance of knowing what this enemy is planning to do. Where when we were talking about Sword and Sorcery and Madara, those you knew what they were going to do. They have it
Right.
set up, and it becomes more of a puzzle for you as opposed to just a flat out hope this works, which I have a tendency to enjoy more.
Yeah, let's. I know I wanted to catch one more comment real quick, and I want to dive into that. So I know also before the chat, we
We're
had
back.
Successful Geek mention. I don't think the AI in Outer Rim is groundbreaking or anything, but I do like it as is, simple and it works well. So that's another one. That is one I've not tried yet. So I do want to try that out sometime. Oh yeah, here's a Pumpkinhead. So beat your own score can be okay if you really enjoyed the game mechanics, but it just feels short lived. Yeah, totally agree with you there. Totally agree. Okay, so that's all the comments I want to catch up on real quick. But yeah, for the AI systems, I I definitely want to focus on Gloomhaven and Madara, and Sword and Sorcery. I think those are some of the main AIs people want to hear us talk about for sure. And I think you were talking about too, Baron, like Gloomhaven. A lot of these games say, "Hey, find the nearest enemy and move towards them, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
attack with this thing, or move within range and attack in range, right?" Uh, and for Gloomhaven, the nice thing about it is it's secret, so you don't know what's going on, like
Yeah.
you were just talking about, right? And Sword and Sorcery and Madara, you see the AI card right there, you know exactly what they're going to do, and this provides an interesting talking point, I think. Oh yeah, Pumpkin's already calling me out. No Gears love? No, absolutely. We're going to talk about Gears of War for sure. Because Gears of War also falls underneath um, the Gloomhaven one, where you don't know what's going on exactly.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I think Gears of War is a phenomenal game for AI. I was trying to find some good images for it, but I had trouble finding it online. So, but anyway, we'll
Because it's
definitely talk
old.
about it.
Because it's old.
It's old. Yeah, I unfortunately I don't think it was well received when it was launched. And
It
I
was ahead
can
of its time.
That's what I feel like. I feel
Yep.
like it
It's kind
was.
of like anything Sega ever put out. It was usually ahead of its time, and then Nintendo would do it a year later, and it'd be like the new norm.
Oh yeah, Pumpkin says Bloodborne AI was pretty good, but also follows in the Gloomhaven like AI. Yeah. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
when it's secret, it's nice because you it tends to put the focus on the players because like I don't know what they're doing. I have some idea. I can take a guess at what they're doing, but I know exactly. So like you're focusing on what you can do, as opposed to like
Right.
Madara and Sword and Sorcery. You know exactly what they're doing, so that becomes part of the puzzle. And I'm with you, Barrett. I think I like that better for me.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the surprise, but like it's really fun to say, "Hey, I have to be here. You have to be there to really make this the best event for us."
Yeah, and of course, even when that happens, it's still there. And once you've gotten to the best of the best, there's still a die roll or still a card flip, and you see what happens. And all of a sudden,
Exactly.
next thing you know, you got a KO'd character, and you're like, "Wow, that was something."
Exactly.
But
And I
yeah,
think a lot of
and
these games, some of my favorite ones, they all have a range indicator saying like, "Hey, if you're at range 0 or range
mhm.
1, 2, or 3, do these things, right?" Or head for these characters or whatever. I know a lot of games do this, and I understand why because it makes it simple. But one of the biggest things I look for AI is it not just move towards the closest hero and do
Yeah,
something, right? Because and when like we played HeroClix, and in HeroClix
yes,
back in the day, you had like a frontline unit of superheroes, and you had some backline support, like your healers in the back, and so you always want to make sure you got some space to protect them, right? But if I'm playing against an opponent, a real opponent, and I see they got like a healer back there that's gonna keep their big guys strong all the time, I'm not gonna wait on the big guy. I'm gonna go for the healer. Try to take out the support. Um, and so like any games that doesn't go after the nearest ones on occasion is a big plus for me. Chris says KDM's method is super stressful and suspenseful.
That's true. It's another card flip, but a lot of the times the monster, uh, what you're going against, you have an idea of its tactics, and so a lot of its cards are based on its tactics. For example, the White Lion. Well, a lot of them are grab the character and run away because he wants to single out his prey. Where you've got the Butcher, which is move as close to as many people as you can and swing and hack and destroy, which is pretty cool. The other cool thing about KDM, which I mean, it's probably been resounded on 1,000 different levels, is the fact that that deck gets smaller, so you're able to more anticipate what the monster's doing because you've been fighting it for over and over. So you're kind of getting to that point where it's like, all right, in the battle we've been doing this. Okay, he always does like the leads. He always does like a jab. Okay, good. I know that jab's probably coming. Even though there's two other cards, he's either going to jab or he's going to kick or he's going to bite. But we've gotten rid of the suplex throw or something. I mean, I'm just making up words. These aren't actually people in the game. Maybe if you're fighting Hulk Hogan, he might be doing these, but he's not in the game. It is kind of cool that you eventually get to that point. To touch on your point with the idea of, like, for example, the other than just move and attack, I think that's one of the reasons that Madara hit real good with me, is because a lot of them have like it starts like, oh, well, if you is there another opponent within range 4? Yeah, then cast barrier on your friend or something. Oh, okay, well, that's cool. Now we go on to the next thing. And there's actually more than one step. We're usually happening in some of those fights, which I think is kind of cool. Now, of course, on the flip side, people sometimes look for AI that's just quick, fast, done. I mean,
Right.
they don't want this huge like amount of stuff. I know Mage Knight is more of a timer, but that's that 3-card flip. Does he have any crystals? Yes, he does. Flip another card. Boom, AI done. And it's not, I guess, technically an AI. It's more of a timer, but still, you have to have those in games. Otherwise, you're not going to know what you're doing. I mean, I just did a playthrough of Alien. Talk about a fast AI system. It really wasn't an AI. It wasn't an AI system because you're just flipping cards and doing what they say. But I mean, if you can find things that are fast like that, that's another thing people kind of gravitate towards if they're interested in doing more. Like, oh, a good example would be Chronicles of Drunagor, that Colin and I are playing. It's like, okay, you have this track. Now it's a preset track, which is a good and bad thing. You know when you're going. And then once it's the enemy's turn, the enemy has already written on their card, like you said, might not be up your alley because it's like move to this. It's always move towards the person with the highest health and then attack. Boom, that thing's done. There's no dice rolls or nothing. It moves 4 squares. It attacks. You do take 8 damage. What are you going to do about it? And then you, as a character, have to figure it out. So it's focusing more on my character as opposed to trying, like, instead of having that 10-minute AI extravaganza, which sometimes can take people out of the game. Like,
Sure.
oh my gosh, let's not talk about Imperial Assault when you want to talk about an AI that's out of control. Ooh, that could take a half hour just to figure out what those guys are doing. Then it's like, okay, now it's my turn. Done. All right, let's see what the AI does.
I think that's
Half hour
key.
later.
I mean, I don't think anybody wants to spend a long time managing the AI in the game. I think that's right.
No.
But like, at least for me, if I'm going to spend a long time managing the AI, I want it to be beneficial to me. I want to be some information to me. So like, so in Swords from Madar, you're marching through these long, not super long, but it takes a while to like make sure you know what they're doing when they're moving, right? But this is impactful to my decisions, right? I'm reading that before I make my move, so it's part of my strategy and planning, as opposed to flipping a card I don't know what's going on and then spending 10 minutes running through it, which is like Imperial Assault, right? Because I don't
Yeah.
know where they're gonna go. I flip
Right.
the card, they move, they shoot, they move again, and there's no way of me to respond in the middle of that or plan
Yeah.
with the information.
Exactly. They're talking about Aeon Trespass as well in the comments section, which you'll never guess who has all of that coming. So you'll be seeing that game when it actually hits. But yes, similar system to KDM, but almost in the reverse fashion. Instead of you becoming less powerful and the monster becoming weaker and bloodied, it's from what I
Yeah.
understand, that thing ramps in the other direction, where it's your characters are fighting more desperately and the monster is fighting more desperately. And there's more damage being done. There's more chance for death in that respect. So it's going to be. I'm pretty excited for that one. But again, that AI system I've heard is very similar to the way KDM does theirs. So we shall see. I even might have Colin playing that game with me because he's been wanting to play KDM, but the graphic nature of it a little bit too. He's not into that kind of graphic design when it comes to monsters and games. So he's waiting for a game that has that same feel, but just in a different theme. And I think this theme is going to be really good for him.
Cool.
And I'm going to play it too.
So Chris has an interesting point that's probably worth talking about. It says, anything with a million keywords is often a bummer. Chip theory games or Batman come to mind. Having to cross-reference all the time can really suck you out of the theme. Which is true. Like if it's not spelled out, or like what's this keyword do? And you've been playing Legendary recently, Bairnt, and I know that's one of my cons for that game. It's just,
and actually we played it last night and we ran into that con pretty hard. I was actually messaging Steve like 3 or 4 times. What are we doing with it? Like I had to like get like how to do stuff, because for those that don't know, we did a thing about Marvel last week, and then I was excited for this Legendary game. So Colin let me borrow his Legendary game. Well, I had a friend come over yesterday, so we're gonna play. I was like, let's try Legendary. So I gave him every card that Colin has. He has a lot of cards. He has a lot of different expansions and things, probably almost all of them. And so I said, who do you want to fight? He's like, I don't know. Well, Apocalypse looks pretty cool. Okay, we'll grab him. We have no idea what we're grabbing. We'll grab Apocalypse. Okay. Well, what should we fight against? We'll fight against the 4 Horsemen, of course. Then we'll fight against this one and this one. We put all this stuff together in the deck. And the next thing he's like, oh, what superhero you want to? Oh, we'll do. I like Thor. I'll grab a Thor. Okay. I like Rogue. Grab Rogue. So we put all these things together. Yeah, it became Keyword City. And I'm sitting there on my phone and all these things. I don't have these memorized. I'm just like, So long story longer, we decided to just go to the base box, read the instruction, goes, for your first game, play these guys. And what a surprise. We had a great time. There were not a lot of keywords we had to deal with. So yes, those can bog you down. You will notice in my collection back here, I do not have anything from Too Many Bones. I actually used to own all of it. I got rid of it almost because of that. One of those, I know. Who am I? What? How do you have Too Many Bones? No, actually, I played a ton of Too Many Bones, and I totally it to me it wasn't challenging, and it bogged down every time we were playing. It just always we seem to be in a slog fest of some kind, and nobody's really having any fun. So we really got rid of that game because of that. So yes, as they're saying, sometimes keywords can bog down a game and make the things trudge on and on.
Yeah, it's tough because keywords can help if you do a good job like laying out your design space so the keywords are minimal but clear and concise, right? If you have them memorized, it can make the game run smoother. But when you have a lot of them, because like the problem with Legendary, it's been supported and going on for 9 years, and it's gonna be next year. It's gonna be 10 years, and it looks like they're not stopping anytime soon. And so with all that time, you've just got so many mechanics to deal with and things to figure out. So, but yeah, and so that one does bog down a little bit with the AI. I don't know if what would you say. I don't think Legendary has an AI. I would say necessarily, just like mechanics you have to deal with.
No, it's just the mechanics.
Yeah.
But
oh yeah. So we talked about AIs. Like I like the ones that will attack the rear end, the rear end, the not the front line, right? Necessarily go behind and take out some of the support or range characters, for example. That's definitely a key for me. I love seeing that. I also like it when they have behaviors unique to the characters, of course, like Madara and Gloomhaven. They all tend to have this type of stuff. But the other way of doing it, I don't talk about this game because we don't think we've talked about this game on the channel much at all, is Tiny Epic Pirates.
We haven't talked about any Tiny Epic because you're the only person that plays them, I think.
Fair enough. So Tiny Epic Pirates has it's an awesome adventure game. Pirate game.
I bet it is.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's abstracted and stuff, but it's fun. I really enjoy it. And plus, you can become a ghost pirate. Who doesn't want to be that? So, but the AI in that game is really cool because you grab a pirate and then you grab a behavior for the pirate. So you could be like Blackbeard and aggressive, or Blackbeard and greedy, or something like that, right? And you put these two cards together, and the combination of that card creates a new AI structure to play against. And games that can manage that are fantastic. I love seeing like, hey, what happens if I have this AI with this other behavior, and how is that going to affect my gameplay now when I approach it? So,
Pumpkinhead's cracking me up. No miniatures, out of my face. He says Bairnt doesn't have it because it doesn't have any minis.
Well, it has minis in it.
Oh, we'll see. Maybe I'll have to pick it up now.
Yeah,
pay up a couple minis and go to town.
I got a picture up there. Oh, this way, up in the corner there. You can see little miniature ships. So.
Oh yeah, I see them. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm trying to think of other games that do something similar to that, where you can get a character or an enemy and then give it a AI system based on another set of. I mean, a lot of the modular deck systems kind of do something similar to that in certain games. I can't really think off the top of my head. I know that the sad thing is, I'm sure chat's about to bring one up. I can't think of one off the top of my head though. I know I've probably got one back here that does that.
There's not that many that do that, that at least give a behavior. A lot of times you can like add things to a bad guy. Like
Yeah.
Marvel Champions, of course, is a good choice. We're like, hey, I'm playing against a Rhino, and I want to give him Green Goblin's weapons, right? And so now
Hmm.
he'll like ride a glider, which is hilarious. Think of Rhino riding a glider, but
That's pretty good actually.
so yeah, that's cool. But like, it doesn't necessarily change his behavior. He's still doing the same thing. So yeah, so Successful Geek's talking about the cargo cubes, which is really cool because like in the game when you get resources, you actually put the cubes on the ships. It's kind of cool, though. I will say it's tiny, so like it's kind of awkward to get them in there sometimes. But
Sure. Now, would you consider an AI system like the board itself? For example, like with like cards that are affecting the board, would that just be because, like, for example, I'm now moving into something like Nemesis, where as you're playing this game, you're exploring the board, you're not knowing where it is, but then you're drawing these tokens out of bags and cards and stuff that are all obviously attempting to destroy you. Is that,
mhm.
would you consider all an AI system, or do you just consider that kind of a mechanic systems?
Probably more mechanic system because it's not, to me, AI system responds to what
Yeah.
the players are doing, right?
That makes perfect sense. Of course, that makes perfect sense. Because I was trying to think of other games that kind of respond. Because then you've got these like whole Arkham horrors where you're reacting, but then again, that's not an AI system. It's more like you're reacting to what the board and game is doing to you, like even the LCGs and things.
Right, because those aren't like, hey, if I play this card, the AI is going to do something else. It doesn't care. It
Yeah,
just does whatever it's going to do, right? So
yeah. I think you're really going to find AIs more in dungeon crawlers and things than almost any other game. I think that's the genre that really brings this to light because you have such a vast amount of stuff going on that it needs to track all the things that are going on and give you something that's to do about it. I mean, that's, I think, more where, I mean, that's why there's always been, until recently, dungeon masters or a one
right.
versus many concept like Dungeon Saga, which those that know, I'm not a huge fan of that game. I played a little bit of that game. That game went out the window real fast, mainly because of that one versus many. And then I just had to keep looking and looking, and finally found Myth as my one that had the AI system I was looking for, where all four of us could play together. And then the genre started developing, and you get Gloomhaven. You're getting hundreds and hundreds. Oh, I shouldn't say hundreds, but lots of dungeon crawlers. Most of them pretty good. That now are all going off AI systems of some kind, whether it be a card or reacting to what you're doing, like you're saying.
So Successful Geek is laying down the groundwork that I think I want to definitely like get closer to talking about here more
Sure.
specifically. So I think AI would need to have priority type system, saying like if X then Y, else if A then B, else Q, blah blah blah. Right?
Yeah.
Completely agree. I think that has to be part of it. And personally, I like it when it's really involved. Like I think
Mhm.
I keep coming back to Madara and Sword and Sorcery because I think those are two fantastic AI systems where it's like it feels like they all have different themes and how the enemy's going to react, and it's involved too, right? That what they're gonna what they're gonna do.
Right. I'm actually going to be returning to Madara here coming this week.
Ooh,
Yep.
nice.
I had to do this. I had Will or Hungry Gamer do the side quest for us,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm going to post his video pretty soon. And then, but I'm just going to post as a link, and you can go over to his channel, watch it, and see what happened. Not going to spoil anything. And then we're going to pick up after that side quest. Now we're going to continue going on, going back down into the gloom.
Yeah, we're playing some sorcery right now on the channel and having a blast. It's fun because like Kim's playing as a glider, so a big old beat stick, and we have a healer in there that's not quite strong yet, but we
Oh, you
start
decided
protecting
to
the
use a
healer.
healer. That's
Yeah,
amazing, Steve.
yeah, we
Pretty proud of
decided to
you.
take everyone's advice. So, but unfortunately, like in that game, we weren't paying attention to the AI, and the enemy did ignore Kim completely and went for the healer, which is like awesome because like I like when that happens. Pumpkinhead has a few other comments here. AIs that I can't speak to, but are definitely complex. Coin and solo bots. That's something we haven't talked about is bots. I'm a big fan of bots generally, especially when bots replace a player. Uh, when you can take, because that way I can take a game that's maybe solo only and make it a 2v2 co-op, where now I could have two bots against two players. And I actually have a game literally right next to me that I'm going to be covering on the channel sometime soon, tournament fishing. This one does that, where you are out, you're just trying to catch the biggest fish and the most fish, and it's got a bunch of different bots in it. In the core game, it should have two bots. Like you can get up to three bots, so you can play 2v2 or maybe even 3v3 full co-op. Everyone's on one team versus three different bots.
Hmm.
So I gotta look at how that works exactly, but I know you can at least do 2v2 in that game for a
I don't,
co-op.
I don't think I have any games like that. I've got like a few where it's like you're solo versus a bot, but I don't think I've really got many where you can play co-op versus bots. I mean, I know I have Villagers back here, which is, if you don't know that game, it's fantastic, by the way. Um, I know that is a bot game where I'm playing against a bot. And I probably have other ones back here. I just don't, either maybe I don't pull them out as often. I mean, I guess you could say Mage Knight's, no, Mage Knight's not really a bot. It's just a timer. Um, where the bot is, I would say like a bot is more like taking things from your plan and using them, and either using them or just removing them and gaining their own victory points for them or things like that. That would be where your bot system would come in. And yeah, I don't think I got too many of those.
I
But
do like them, but I do think I prefer an AI in the game than bots, depending on what the game it is. Of course, not every game can do that, but generally, more of the Euro games have bot-like systems. I would say.
sure. And then you've got actually ones that are one of the I shouldn't say oldest, but well-known dungeon crawlers and a great community of it. Their AI system is both the read from what it's doing and it's actually random as to everything, and that's of course the most random dungeon crawler on the planet. Was it Shadow? No, Forbidden Fortress or the Shadows of Brimstone
Oh
series,
yes, yes.
because you have to randomize who it's going to fight most of the time, and
Yep.
then once it does it, then it randomly determines an attack it's going to do. But of course, they're all there, so you have at least some idea of what this thing is going to be probably trying to do, but you never know. So I think that's kind of cool that they have that idea. Uh, but that's just me. And then of course it does have its statistics, which then it goes off of, which is kind of cool.
Right.
So then you at least know what's coming. Oh, this guy's gonna try to hit me. That's fantastic. Sadly, it's going after the guy I don't have any armor on. Oh no, this could be bad news. Tragic City. Or oh, lucky again. The dice rolls and it's going after the person I wanted to. But I'm a fan of Shadows of Brimstone. Though I think I'm the only one on the channel that still likes it.
I don't think I've played. No, I haven't played that one yet, so I'll have to fix that at some point.
That will have to be rectified sometime this month.
Okay, we'll figure it
I have
out.
to find a good tabletop mod, but right now the only tabletop mod I think that's out there is one where you actually the box is sitting in front of it on the table, and you have to pull the box off, and everything's just in there, and you just have to set it off. There's no scripted ones. Maybe there is. Maybe the chat knows a great scripted Shadows of Brimstone one, and I could maybe get that on the table for you.
Cool. Yeah, and so let's try to think of this on highlights. So highlights, at least for me,
Mm-hmm.
are not attacking the closest all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Huge fan of that. I like complex systems. I like knowing what they're going to do ahead of time. Like Gloomhaven is fine. Oh yeah, the other thing about Gloomhaven is all the enemies act. It's synchronized attacking, right? It's like flip this card, and
Yeah.
all the enemies that type will do the same thing, regardless of where they are. And like it works. It's fine.
Yeah.
I prefer it if it's more unique. Where Gears of War does this a little bit. I would say where some cards you activate them all synchronized, and some cards it's like each one will we run through this chart, right, of what they're going to do, and that one is also hidden. It's hidden, but they all activate in different ways. Where like, hey, this guy's got a grenade launcher. He's going to stay back and he's going to lob grenades. He's not always going to move closer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that type of stuff is fantastic when you. I tend to like it when you can see it generally, so it can be part of my plan because I like complex stuff, but I don't want to not know what's going on and then have to run through this huge long chart that's I can't respond or use as information part of my planning. What about you, Baron? What are some of your top characteristics for AI system?
I think you and I are pretty much in the same boat here on this one. I'm a fan of like having AI that is different as it does stuff. You're saying that it's hard. You like ones where it's not always everybody attacks as one, Like, okay, it's
Yes.
now the bad guy turn. All of them go, and I find that that's kind of tough to do because I can see how that can bog down a game a little bit if each character's individual. But if you're playing smaller groups of people, it's easier to do that. For I mean, again, I'm going to bring up Madara. Madara, of course, does have its like now it's time. It's got its cards you put down, but each one is either for a small group of monsters or they are for the individual monsters you're laying down. So you do get a chance to see these monsters react differently based on what you're doing, and it could do something completely different because you had to do something on your turn to go after the other one of those monsters or something. But it it's it's hard to do because then you sometimes could lose track of which one you've moved and done already if it's like 4 turns down the line and that one activates then. But I don't know. It's I enjoy. I just enjoy AIs that I enjoy. I don't know. I'm not
Yeah, for
making any sense.
me, I prefer games that have more beefier enemies to go against and more complex what they do. So they have that smart AI. I feel like,
Mm-hmm.
because you're right.
Then
If you
you
have a
love Kingdom Death.
yes, yes, um, if you go the other way, it's good for lots of minis. And I think a good example of that is Zombicide, right? Because like there are just 70 zombie missions on the board, and zombies are supposed to be dumb, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
what do they do for the AI in the game? They move one space and they attack.
Yep.
Right? It's
They attack.
really straightforward. And you need that because there's 70 of them. You don't want all of them doing unique stuff because that'll get really annoying real fast. So like I think there's a happy medium there. What you want to do, I definitely prefer the less enemies, less to manage there, but more complex AI to make it for that.
Right.
And I think that's what Pumpkinhead says here. It
Yeah.
says easy to run is more important to me. Also want
He's
so
calling me
etching.
out again because I made no
Oh
sense.
yeah, good AIs are the ones that are good. Bairnt. Yes, yes, that's an awesome comment.
Quote of the day, man. That's gonna be the quote of the day right there. That should be your tag for this video. Good
Oh yeah.
AIs are the ones that are good.
Oh yeah, for sure. But let me get back to the other comment. It says,
Uh,
easy to run is more important to me. Also want so etching that gets as close to as human. So it's getting as close as possible to humans, I believe. Two very opposed ones. Yeah, so he wants easy to run, but he wants to be close to what a human would do. Which yeah, that is very
yeah.
very challenging to do.
It is, and I think a lot of the times that it's hard to do is because the human player is attempting to exploit that issue.
Yeah.
Is when they're playing, it's like, okay, so the best thing for this thing to do is to get within 2 squares of me and attack. That's it's what it wants to do. So I'm going to get 3 squares, and then it's going to do something different that's better for me. And I'm
Right.
trying to exploit that when I do things. When you're talking about all those miniatures, there is a game out there that has a lot of miniatures and it's lots of fun. It's this myth game. Here's some of the rat dudes I was working on the other day.
Nice.
That AI system is pretty easy too. It's a small card. It
Mm-hmm.
triggers all the minions, and it triggers everything at once. So like you're saying, that might not be the best, but it does trigger them in order of like minion, like captain, boss, stuff like this, and they all get their own little things they do, which is kind of cool. I'm always a big supporter of Myth, and probably and then again the only one on the channel that's a supporter of Myth.
That's true.
But yeah, it's super
Now,
fun game.
Successful Geek, I have to ask you about this, or maybe Baron, you know about this. Here's a comment that says, I wonder how AI will evolve with something like Tubaru, where you can actually program real AI. I'm not sure what you mean by Tubaru here. No?
Is it like an app based deal? Because we haven't really talked about app things. I mean, other than Imperial Salt, which was it was kind of garbage.
I mean, if we talk about apps, the one that I like a lot for AI is U-Boat. It's phenomenal because that one, it's real time, and the boats are going to do different things. Like if you in that one, you're playing as a submarine captain trying to sink ships. And if I go to sink a giant ship and then it's got an escort, well, guess what? It's going to turn and head towards me. Or if I'm firing at an escort, a merchant ship, and it can't fight back, it starts zigzagging, right? And it's so lifelike. So he says, Tuberu is the thing from Simon that the board connects to an app, can track what you do, where you are, etc. Oh, that's right. I forgot
Yeah, I
about
think I
that.
remember this. Wasn't Zombicide one of their first ones they were going to do for this or something? Like was, or is this just a game in itself? I may be confused with something else.
Well, it's a game system, I believe. Like it's not
Okay.
specific. They're gonna have games for it for sure, but yeah, that's a really good question. I don't know. I don't know where it's gonna be. So, oh, Stray.
If they can do that actually is like the evolution of AI right there, man. Okay, I'm gonna move
Yeah,
my guy three
for sure.
spaces, 1, 2, 3 over to here. Oh, stop! This thing's gonna do this now because you did that. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, Pumpkinhead's like it's not out, which is true. So, oh yeah, it's a successful game did confirm. Zombicide is one of the first
Oh,
for it. So yeah, there you
and
go.
then like we were talking just a couple seconds ago, it kind of makes sense because most of the time for Zombicide, it's just move one space and attack.
Right, right,
So I mean, it's not like, oh, it doesn't have this like super AI system or anything like that.
right.
They should make one like that for Resident Evil. So like as I'm opening the door, it's like, stop! These three monsters are there's a zombie in there, or oh, you turn the corner and there's the nemesis. Roar! I mean, but again,
That'd be
maybe it's
cool.
because I just got done playing Resident Evil 3 on my Xbox that I'm super excited about that.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know Stray was talking about trying to find a U-boat in stock. It's hard to find, so yeah, that's tough.
I look about every month to try to find like a decent find on that, and I just can't.
I believe, yeah, it's hard to find. Unfortunately, I've been told they're going to go make some changes to it, the app for sure, and I believe they're going to might do another Kickstarter for it. I
No,
don't know the
I've been
details
told
yet.
that I might. I mean, I've been told I might be seeing somebody in October that's going to be bringing U-boat.
Yes, I will. Next time we meet up, I'm bringing U-boat so you can try it because it's very different than any other game I've played. Board game I've played. It's very very different.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not everyone's cup of tea for sure. It's very very heavy. Um, but cool. Yeah. So AIs, you do AIs in apps. We got AIs with
Mm-hmm.
the priority cards. AIs with that with like the more simplistic ones. I think we're on alignment, saying that we like the more complex ones.
Yeah.
I know a lot of other people like it quick to resolve for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, I think the main thing for me is I like more complex as long as that complex in nature feeds into my decision space, either my
Mm-hmm.
planning or I can respond to it in the middle or something like that. Is what I enjoy.
And also, it has to be that the player count can support the time it takes to deal with an AI. Is the other hard part too. If you have one guy controlling this AI, and you have three other people that eventually sit in their phones because they've like got bored as you're trying to deal with this.
Yes.
I do like this concept of the was it the Tanuchu or Tenburu? I'm terrible at words, but I think it's I think it's gonna be awesome. I think that's I could really see that this is the direction AI is going to start to be going,
Mhm.
where your board is going to be connected to an app type concept, and your characters are going to have little things in them and be able to react to this. I know that I mean Lucky Duck I think is a company that's really been moving forward in this genre of scanning and
Mhm.
creating worlds that are really all on app but still have physical components. And sure enough, there's a lot of people that don't like that, but I think that can really expand the AI universe,
Mhm.
not only by creating robots and exciting things in real life, but also in gaming. They can create these basically another mind that is working against you.
Absolutely. Yeah, apps really open up the space of what you can do with board games, and that might be a really good topic for next week too.
Ooh.
Might have to
We
add that
can
to the
talk a
list.
little Journeys of Middle Earth. We could talk a little about Star Wars. No,
Tell me how you really feel.
I'm definitely making some enemies on this episode, I'm sure. All the Imperial Salt purists out there.
It looks like Howard's going to be making a OSCS live stream bingo for you. So every
Oh,
time you say
yeah?
myth, that's one of them. When you mispronounce a word, it's
That's
another
one.
one.
There you go.
So I think the mispronounced word is probably going to be across the board for all of us.
I think so. Oh my gosh, I am just terrible at that. Oh, you should.
It's
Most of the time I'm reading. You know, I will even tell you I'm recording, and when I'm recording, sometimes I will see a word in like in what I'm trying to read. I will stop the video and have to reread that like in part in a book because I had to go to YouTube and say how to pronounce, and you type the word in, and it tells you how to pronounce
yes.
it, and then I hear it, and I'm like, I'm still not going to pronounce it right, even after
It's
hearing it
so
on
true.
YouTube. Oh my gosh. I like look, I'm like, how do I say that? And then like, I think I even put that as a soundbite at one of the end of one of my videos Colin and I did. He was reading something, he's like, how do you pronounce that? I'm like, I don't know. Let's look it up.
So true. It's so true.
But yes, I mean, and that just happens. There's lots of words out there. I barely even know any of them, so it's good.
Excellent. Well, I think this is probably going to wrap up our discussion as I see the
Yeah,
chat is going to be making a drinking game for the live stream. So, yes.
that sounds like a plan. Not I'm gonna I'll use coffee.
Yes, I love it.
I get more excited the more coffee I drink.
But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up today's stream. So thanks for joining in, guys. It was a lot of fun. The next stream is going to be tonight. It's going to be Valor and Villainy, and Peter's playing that with some others as well. So this game, I love. I love this game. I am all in on this game. So definitely check it out. It's got a campaign, but it's kind of a one-off explore a maze dungeon crawl game. It's nice because it's contained, and it's got some really awesome leveling up in my opinion. Um, but yeah, that's tonight.
And then on Sunday, you can watch me and Peter play some Kingdom Death Monster at 9 p.m. Central. So I think it's 9 p.m. Eastern. It's 8 p.m. Central.
Yep.
We're going to be delving back into Kingdom Death. We're actually going to take a few minutes before we start the stream to make sure we've got everything all set up exactly how it's supposed to. I think we had an issue. I may have clicked the wrong button in the app or the mod based on what we're fighting and stuff. So we're going to be taking on our first Nemesis monster tonight.
Ooh, awesome.
I think that's where we are.
And I'll be posting the schedule for this week tonight because guess what? You guys are awesome. We got to 1,000 subs, so now we unlocked that feature. I can now send schedule posts to everyone. So see that later today. But yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, another thing coming out later next week. I gotta make sure it comes today, but a little preview. I'm pretty sure Iridia should be arriving today for me. So if I do get today, I'm looking at maybe Wednesday to do coverage on that one. So I will confirm that
Sweet.
later.
I'm gonna fly on over.
Yeah, you're always welcome.
Flying to North Carolina to play that game. The game looks awesome.
It does.
I'm excited to see your stream of it.
Cool. Okay, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the next stop.
Take care.
Bye.